2 games old.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Courtside Coffee, where we brew highly caffeinated tennis conversation. I'm your host, Melissa, and today we're going to talk about the great Rafael Nadal's legacy and why Rafa is more than just a clay court specialist. Yesterday, Nadal announced he will retire at the end of the 2024 season. His last professional match will be at the Davis Cup Finals, which will be held in Spain in November. Rafa is often labeled as the king of clay, and sure, with 14 French Open titles to his name, he's undeniably the greatest clay court player of all time. But let me ask you this. Should his dominance on clay somehow count against him when we're discussing his place among the greatest players in the sport? I think not. Some critics out there like to downplay Nadal's accomplishments by saying, well, most of his Grand Slam titles came on clay. But let's look at this in perspective. When we look or talk about Roger Federer, we don't diminish his greatness because of 8 of his Grand Slam titles came on the grass courts of Wimbledon. No, instead, we celebrate his elegance and versatility on that surface. Speaking of Federer, the Maestro won only 1 French Open title, and his fans like to point out that he played during the reign of the King of Clay. Yet they don't give Nadal the same grace, even though Rafa played in an era with 2 grass court greats, Federer and Andy Murray. Andy Murray and Federer combined for 10 Wimbledon titles during Rafa's career. Or take Novak Djokovic, his remarkable 13 titles on hard courts, including his 10 at the Australian Open, are seen as a testament to his physical and mental durability on one of the most grueling surfaces in the sport. If Federer is the grass maestro and Djokovic is the hard court master, then Nadal deserves the same recognition for his brilliance on clay. But let's not forget, Rafa is not a one-surface wonder. He has proven himself on all tennis terrains, capturing titles at all 4 Grand Slams, 2 Wimbledon titles, 4 U.S. Open trophies, and 2 Australian Open titles round out his collection, showing that his game adapts and conquers every surface. Nadal's record at Wimbledon is 58-12. That's slightly better than Murray, who is 61-13. Rafa's record at the U.S. Open is 67-12. That's better than 82%. Djokovic is 90-14 at the Aussie Open, which is great, and he has a great record also at the U.S. Open. But Nadal's record is 112-4 at Roland Garros. That is amazing. Rafa's head-to-head against Federer is 24-16. Djokovic holds a slight edge, 31-29, but Nadal has won 11 of their 18 matches at Grand Slams. So I know Fed fans like to make it about Nadal versus Fed or Fed versus Djokovic, but the real rivalry is Nadal versus Djokovic. The two met 60 times, more than any ATP Tour rivalry in the Open era. Novak and Roger played only 50 times. Statistically, Novak is the GOAT, but Nadal held his own against the GOAT. And let's talk about Rafa's achievements beyond the slam. Nadal has won more Masters 1000 titles on hard courts than many players have titles in their entire careers. He's been to the finals and semifinals at major tournaments countless times, beating the best on surfaces that are supposedly not his forte. Now, here's the thing that really gets me. Why is Nadal's mastery of the French Open held against him as if somehow this diminishes his greatness? Winning 14 titles on clay isn't just a testament to his skills, it's a feat of athleticism, mental toughness, and pure competitive spirit that should elevate his legacy, not limit it. We're talking about a guy who has to endure grueling 5-set battles in the intense heat, sliding on a slippery surface, generating insane spin, and playing with unparalleled physical intensity for hours. The physicality of clay court tennis is something that breaks most players, but not Rafa. In fact, it brings out his best. And here's another point to consider. Rafa also has a career Golden Slam. That means he won all 4 Grand Slams plus a gold medal. Not even Federer accomplished that. So when people say, oh, Nadal's titles mostly came for Roland Garros, I say, so what? That's like criticizing Michelangelo for making too many sculptures or saying Shakespeare wrote too many plays. His brilliance at the French Open is just one chapter in a book filled with epic achievements. In the end, the debate about who's the greatest, that's going to rage on. Federer's elegance, Djokovic's mental fortitude, Nadal, relentless intensity. But when it comes to Rafa, let's make one thing clear. His legacy is more than just the red clay of Roland Garros. His mastery on that surface should be celebrated as one of the greatest accomplishments in all of sports, and it shouldn't be used to somehow diminish his greatness. So next time someone tries to call Rafa Nadal just a clay court specialist, remind them that legends aren't defined by their limitations, but by their ability to defy them. That's all for today's episode of Courtside Coffee. If you enjoy tennis commentary, please visit us at Courtside Coffee on Substack, where you'll get highly caffeinated tennis coverage, the latest news on tennis-related fashion, and coffee culture. Until next time, I'm Merlisa, reminding you to stay caffeinated and keep on brewing.